Hi, I want to read you a Christmas story. But before I begin, I want to tell you what the story is, and I want to tell a little bit about it. The story we're going to read today is called The City That Forgot About Christmas. And this is a book that's been around for a while. In fact, when I was a little child, probably about your age, my grandmother actually lived just a few streets behind where I am now. And when we were little, she'd take my brother and my sister and I over to the CPH bookstore, and we'd get Arch books and we'd get Christmas books, and we'd shop and she'd read them to us. Now, I don't remember reading this book. Probably did, but I tell you what I do remember. My daughter, when she was little, we used to read this book to her. It's called The Town That Forgot About Christmas. One of her godmothers gave it to her, and in the front of the book, she wrote something, and I want to share that with you now. She said, "Perhaps reading this book will become an annual Christmas tradition for you and your family. I pray that its special message emphasizing the real reason for celebrating Christmas, the birth of our Savior Jesus, will touch your heart afresh each year. May your own personal nativity enrich the story for you as well." Now, I hope you have a nativity set. And if you don't, let's talk about how the man who came to the city that forgot about Christmas helped them build one. There once was a city that had forgotten about God. The people were selfish and mean. The healthy people did not take care of the sick, and the sick people complained. The hungry stole food. The children fought. The grown-ups scowled and shouted. Nobody smiled anymore. Worst of all, because the people in this city had forgotten the meaning of love, they had forgotten the meaning of Christmas. Christmas Day was just like any ordinary day. Nobody sang the joyous Christmas songs. No mothers cooked a special Christmas dinner. No fathers helped their children trim a Christmas tree. There were no mysterious packages, no stockings hung by the fireside. Can you imagine that? No Christmas. Well, one day, a stranger from a far country came to town. He was an old man named Matthew. "What?" he cried when he discovered that nobody knew about Christmas. "Not one of you remembers the message of the angels? Well, we shall see what we shall see." See, Matthew was a kind old man and very merry. In his younger days, he had been a carpenter. He knew how to make things out of the scraps of wood. He could carve, too. He could make tops and whistles, dolls and jumping jacks with his pocket knife. Children trailed after him, wondering what he would make for them next. Wives, when they heard his gay whistle, called to each other, "Here comes Matthew! Perhaps he will mend my doorstep. When Matthew comes, I shall ask him to make me a new window box for my pansies." The men liked to have him around too. He hiked into the hills with them and showed them the best places to fish. Since he was retired and did not have to work anymore, he had time to help them with their jobs. "You know, the city is a different place since old Matthew came," said one mother. "Yes," agreed her husband. "People are smiling again and doing things for another. It seems to me there are a few uglier words, too." Old Matthew was saddened, though, by the thought that nobody could remember the Christmas story. Late in the year, when snow fell and the winds blew, he sat near his kitchen stove and began to carve something new. "What is it?" asked the children. "Tell us, what are you making now?" While he carved, Matthew began to tell the Christmas story. He told of the angel who had appeared to Mary and how Mary went to the hill country to carry the good news to her cousin Elizabeth. "This is the angel," he told the children when he had finished his carving. Sure enough, the wooden figure was a life-sized angel. The children looked at the angel and touched it, and they loved it. "But what is the piece you're working on now?" they cried excitedly. Well, it will be Mary, said Matthew. And he pointed to a large piece of wood leaning against the wall. And that will be Joseph. Hurry, begged the children. Hurry so it will be finished in time for Christmas. Old Matthew had told them so much about the Christmas season that all families in town decided to celebrate it this year. For the first time in anybody's memory, the city would have Christmas. Everyone was humming and whistling and singing the carols Matthew had taught them. Mothers were stirring up puddings and baking cookies. Fathers were saying, "Come, children, let's go into the woods and cut the most beautiful tree we can find." Children were busy making colored paper chains and foil stars to hang on their trees. People were hiding marvelous Christmas packages. Everybody was happy because Christmas was in the air. "My father might like to help finish the figures for the Christmas creche," suggested one boy the week before Christmas. "He knows how to carve." "Mine does too," chimed in another child. And a third child said, "My mother knows how to paint. I'm sure she would like to help." Matthew smiled, and the smile on his wrinkled face was wonderful to see. "You may all help," he said. "Tell your families to come to my house tonight, and I will show them what to do." Every night after that, mothers and fathers and children gathered around Matthew's kitchen stove and carved and painted and listened to his wonderful tales of Christmas. Before many days passed, the statues of Joseph and Mary, the angel Gabriel, the shepherds, a donkey, and some sheep and cows were completed. "Before next Christmas, we shall build a church," said a father one evening. "But this year, where will we set the creche?" "My tool shop is heated," said another man. "We can clean it and use it for the stable." "But we still have the baby Jesus to carve," said a little girl. "Oh, he will be in the creche by Christmas," promised Matthew. Now, Christmas Eve was one night away. Long after the people had gone home to bed, Matthew sat up and put the finishing touches on the statues. The next morning, he got up early and left the city. All day long, people wondered about him and looked for him. They were busy cleaning the shop, making it into a stable with fresh, sweet hay, and setting the figures there. Before they knew it, evening had come, but Matthew was not to be found. The whole city was astir. Perhaps he was called away or had an errand to do, the people told one another. But surely he will come back before morning and bring the baby for the manger. 7 o'clock, no Matthew. 8 o'clock, no Matthew. 9 o'clock. How can we take our children to say a prayer at the stable when there is no baby? Asked a mother. Sadly, she wiped her eyes. Hush now, said another. I have an idea. This mother whispered something into her husband's ear, and he exclaimed, Yes, I will tell the people that the stable is ready. And off he went. When the people of the city came to the stable, the light was shining inside, and it was warm and smelled of fresh hay. There, in a crib, was a baby sleeping peacefully under his soft blanket. Someone has put their own baby into the crib, cried a child. A real live baby, said the people as they knelt to pray. That is the message old Matthew was trying to bring us these many weeks, said the father of the baby. On the first Christmas, God came to earth as a real live baby. Remember how Matthew always said, the Word was made flesh and dwelt among us? A murmur arose among the people as they said to one another, It is a holy night. He is with us again. And before leaving the stable, a child leaned down to kiss the baby, lying in the manger, and she whispered softly, He is with us again. God has come to our city. And do you suppose that Matthew might have been an angel who brought the message? The end. Well, I hope you enjoyed The City That Forgot About Christmas. We'll see you next time.